with time on first down. It's complete. Amon-Ra St. Brown brought down inside. Third and goal. St. Brown to the end zone.
In high school, Amon-Ra St. Brown was already a 5-star recruit that made defensive backs look foolish. He wasn't just dominating the Mater-Dei high school program with highlight reel catches. He was showing a level of speed and strength that left scouts speechless.
DJ Medina had an opportunity to stop St. Brown, but St. Brown is off to the races.
And before even touching an NFL field, he dominated the Pac-12 at the University of Southern California. St. Brown was a player who'd happily catch any ball and bulldoze a linebacker for fun. Now Amon-Ra St. Brown is a 6-foot, 202-pound weapon for the Detroit Lions. He's by far one of the most versatile wide receivers in the NFL today. And we're talking about a guy who in 2023 alone hauled in 119 receptions, 1,515 yards, and 10 touchdowns. He basically carried his team to the NFC Championship game and earned himself a record-breaking $120 million contract extension. And it's due to this workout in the fact that he leads the best wide receiver blocking room in the NFL, and he is in such peak condition. But to continuously be in contention for All-Pro honors and absolutely humiliate defensive backs every single Sunday, you need to treat your body like a temple. And that's exactly what he's been doing.
You got a little dog, that's what they used to call me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we was big into that space.
Right.
I already had y'all working out when y'all was young.
Yeah, you did.
How old were you when you started clanking and banging?
I would say 5 years old.
That's abuse.
Yeah.
That's abuse.
But it wasn't real weights. It was like PVC pipes, getting the form down.
Every offseason we hear stories of players taking it easy, coasting through the offseason on God-given talent. But for the sun god, it's all about physical investment and an insane daily regimen. He's basically got an addiction to the jugs machine.
Yeah.
And in his off time, he spends time with physical therapists to forge that unbreakable mindset that has led the Lions to the playoffs. Because unlike Jamar Chase and Jalen Waddle, Amon-Ra was forced to watch the top 10 picks go by and see 16 other wide receivers drafted before the Lions even called his name in the 4th round at number 112. And when you look at the workout of Amon-Ra St. Brown, you can clearly see why he has earned first-team All-Pro honors 2 years in a row. So let's talk workouts first.
Getting ready to do a training session with my 2 sons. We're going to train chest, shoulders, and arms today.
Every pro athlete needs to walk the line between high-intensity training, recovery, and rest. So this is what a typical St. Brown week actually looks like. While most traditional NFL wide receivers focus purely on finesse, making sure they get on the field, running some cone drills, working on top-end speed, and then calling it a day. Amon-Ra flipped the script, and it all stems from his father. John Brown is a 2-time Mr. Universe and 3-time Mr. World bodybuilder. But here's the kicker. His entire program is built around a completely different philosophy, what his father called athleticism power training. Throughout his week, Amon-Ra's workouts are broken down into a bodybuilding-inspired approach that focuses on building muscle, generating explosive horsepower, and developing a level of functional strength that allows him to block defensive ends and shrug off tackles. Now, what does all of this mean, you ask? Well, first there's the lower body and foundational strength workout, which is mind-blowing. This training has allowed him to develop incredibly dense leg muscles that give him unparalleled burst off the line of scrimmage. Most importantly, it allows him to hit those sharp, violent cuts at the top end of his routes that literally break defensive backs' ankles every single week. But what exactly does he do? Amon-Ra focuses on moving heavy weight with explosive power, and all this starts with the most basic fundamentals. High rep, incredibly deep squats, brutal plyometric bounding, multi-directional lunges with heavy resistance, intense sled pushes. He doesn't follow the traditional flashy exercises that make a lot of receivers look good on camera. Amon-Ra takes the foundational exercises and grinds out sets with maximum intensity, focusing on mind-muscle connection that his father instilled in him since he was a child. He might load up the bar for heavy squats, execute them with perfect spine-aligned form, and then fire off a few deadlifts.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, he rocking. You don't rock, you don't get big.
The goal is to put maximum strain on the nervous system and produce insane kinetic energy that gives him the explosive power to burst off the line and beat the cornerback. But once the weightlifting is done, it's time for some field work. He does focus route running drills, concentrating specifically on lowering his center of gravity and pushing down and back on his foot strike to generate maximum separation. This gives him that extra yard of separation when Jared Goff looks his way every week. But what about the actual catching? I've already talked about the jugs machine, but this isn't just training, it's an obsession. I mean, every NFL receiver catches passes, but St. Brown pushes this to an absolute max with a daily requirement of catching exactly 202 passes from the jugs machine after every single practice. Not 200, not 201, exactly 202.
The number 202 actually stems from when we were younger. We used to go, do the 7-on-7 circuit, and there was this kid, he had really good hands. And my dad went up to his father, and he was like, what does your son do to have all these great hands? And he goes, we have a jugs machine. We catch 200 balls on the jugs every day.
He compounds it with hand-eye coordination drills, catching the ball from different angles and incredibly short distances. Then he makes that sudden, violent snatch of the football possible even when a safety is bearing down on him. To replicate the exact demands of a 2-minute drill in the NFL, St. Brown will push himself with high-intensity interval sprints, making sure his body is completely accustomed to running a 20-yard in-breaking route when completely exhausted. It ensures his heart rate spikes and recovers just like it would between plays on Sunday. This is exactly why when the defense is gasping for air and putting their hands on their hips in the fourth quarter, the sun god is still hitting his top gear, finding the soft spot in the zone and moving the chains. But if there's one thing every NFL receiver also needs if they want to survive across the middle of the field, it's an extremely strong upper body. Just look at the size of modern linebackers and corners.
And then he just, bam, throws a punch right at Amon-Ra.
No one in the NFL gives you an inch, and when you see these big men smash into a wide receiver, you need to hold on to the ball. But let's face it, Amon-Ra doesn't just survive those hits. He beats tacklers and always manages to get that extra yard. All of this thanks to his incredible upper body strength. And these are just a few of the exercises he does. Heavy bench presses, single-arm dumbbell rows, shoulder presses with intense volume, complex core stabilization holds. Just like those lower body exercises, St. Brown attacks his upper body with a bodybuilder's intensity, mixed with an athlete's functional requirement. Instead of just doing low rep maxes, he'll push his muscles to the absolute point of failure, performing reps that build functional mass, kinetic power, and armor-like strength that helps him bounce off those tackles. But no NFL player is complete without the core and mental work. Amon-Ra spends a massive amount of his time focusing on mental preparation and core stability. Before every single practice, he opens up a notebook containing the names of the 16 wide receivers drafted before him.
I'm going to go Jamar Chase, LSU,
Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith,
Rondell Moore, Dwayne Eskridge, Nico Kong, Anthony Schwartz, Des Fitzpatrick, Louisville.
He reads it every single day. All of this physical and mental preparation is done to make sure that his body is completely weaponized and his mind is sharper than anybody else on the field. His mental preparations include master Shah sessions and a strong focus on positive energy. But if you work out without recovery, you'll burn out. And this is the unseen battle of top-performing players. Everyone wants to out-train the next guy, but without enough recovery, a player can quickly be left out of action or end up on the injured reserve. So St. Brown takes this even more seriously than his route running. Because Amon-Ra plays the game with such a physical style, his body takes an absolute beating. We're talking about a guy who famously played a game in 2023 after he had torn an oblique muscle clean off the bone. He's a player who fought through hand, foot, and mouth disease just to be out there for his team. He even played a game just 7 days after suffering a brutal ankle sprain on Thanksgiving Day that would have sidelined a normal human being for over a month. To survive that kind of trauma, St. Brown utilizes world-class physical therapy, specialized injections when necessary, and an absolute dedication to reducing inflammation. These recovery sessions are immediately followed by intensive body work, deep tissue massage, and a relentless focus on bringing his body back to the baseline. It is nothing special and the kind of treatment you'd expect for a world-class athlete. But where things get really intense is his strict adherence to sleep and cellular repair. Since he was a child, his father, John Brown, had a strict rule: never ever wake a sleeping child. Sleep is when the body actually grows, repairs, and adapts to the trauma that it was put through. And in regular sessions with compression boots, percussion guns, and a massive priority on getting high-quality rest, you have a machine that is constantly being tuned up. This brings oxygen and nutrients deep into the muscle tissue, speeding up the recovery process on a cellular level. Because after a brutal long season, a receiver who takes dozens of high-speed collisions across the middle of the field every single Sunday needs to recover instantly to bounce back every week. But what might surprise you is how St. Brown rebuilds himself during the offseason. Instead of heading to the couch like many players who earn big money, Amon-Ra directly transitions back to his father's laboratory. He trains 5 times a week with 2 weight sessions to rebuild his body. During this time, the focus is on raw strength, functional movement, and performing total body recovery workouts to reset the nervous system for the next brutal campaign. But holding the thing all together is a diet that is built completely around raw horsepower. And the St. Brown diet is what you'd expect from a superstar. While guys like Christian McCaffrey are focused on extremely clean, high-calculated anti-inflammatory greens, Amon-Ra's nutritional foundation was built in the trenches of the bodybuilding world. Growing up, his diet was designed to build raw mass and absolute power. His father strictly forbade the lean, modern athletic diets of simple chicken and fish. Instead, he fed his boys massive amounts of red meat, cooking double portions at dinner just so they could eat an identical massive steak for breakfast the next morning. He was expected to eat, fueling his growing muscles with the max amount of calories possible.
So, is that your lunch?
Snack, lunch, yep.
His dad even notoriously claimed that washing it down with a sugary drink like Kool-Aid was completely fine, because as a growing athlete burning thousands of calories, you need those calories. However, as Amon-Ra transitioned into a highly calculated professional athlete in the NFL, he refined this chaotic mass-building approach into a strict, disciplined routine that still honors the need for raw protein, but ensures that his body runs like a well-oiled machine. Unlike the massive linemen who put down 5,000 calories of junk just to keep weight on, St. Brown's current diet requires incredible discipline, maintaining his weight right around 200 pounds while keeping his body fat low. In an incredibly focused way, his diet is now built around high-quality fuel. He consumes protein shakes at least twice a day, ensuring his muscles have a constant stream of amino acids to repair the extreme damage done during those brutal blocking assignments. What St. Brown does is consume a lot of water every single day to remain hydrated, especially during the grueling summer training camps in Allen Park. But this isn't the only form of hydration. Just like any other top athlete, he uses strict hydration protocols, balancing electrolytes to prevent cramping when he's grinding out those 202 extra catches on the jugs machine. St. Brown's daily meals are a masterclass in building and sustaining muscle. He starts his day prioritizing a massive protein-heavy breakfast, often returning to those childhood roots of steak and eggs. This gives him the dense, low-digesting fuel needed to kickstart his metabolism and power him through a 2-day workout. His primary protein sources still lean heavily on that high-quality, iron-rich red meat, providing the creatine and raw materials his body needs to maintain that terrifying physical edge. He relies on dense carbohydrates like potatoes and rice for his clean, functional energy. He also strictly follows the rule of eating for performance, meaning he ensures his body is in a constant state of anabolism. So he is never losing that hard-earned muscle mass during the brutal 17-game NFL schedule. So with this insane diet, grueling Mr. Universe workout regimen, and absolute psychopathic discipline, it should be no surprise that come Sunday, Amon-Ra St. Brown can run right through the opposition on every single play. But there's always a debate about who is the best in a position or draft class. If you'd like to find out who is the better pick between Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs, check out this next video. But he was only picked 112th overall in the 4th round. If you'd like to see the biggest draft steals in NFL history who proved everyone wrong, make sure to check out this next video. And if you enjoyed this one, please like and subscribe. Check out some of our other content here at Primetime, and we'll see you on the next one.